Alright, fans, it is time for another fun video from Geeks of the Web. I am going to be your hostess today, Shield Maiden SA. And as we all know that right now, we're kind of in the beginning of what may be starting for convention season. And that's going to be everywhere around the country, depending on where you are in the world. You're either going to have Comic-Cons, Aetherfests, Renaissance festivals, something going on that you're going to need to create a costume for. So, whether it's your first time doing a costume, whether you have a whole closet to pick from, sometimes you're just looking for something a little bit different from what you've done before. So what I have found is I happened to find this really cute tutorial for how to make mini steampunk top hats. Now, I know what you're thinking. You know, I can pick this up every time I go to a convention. They have them everywhere. And they're these cheap little hats. But sometimes you want something that's a little bit better. You want something that's better than the cheap, cute little hat, but nothing that you're going to actually have to go to a professional hat maker and have made. So I happened to find this really great pattern from a guy who calls himself Lost Wax. And he actually does a lot of really cool things with foam. I know what you're thinking again, craft foam. Oh, I hate that stuff. It's really not that bad. I've actually played with this so that I could make sure I could do this for you folks and help you guys through it. It's actually a relatively easy, user-friendly pattern. As you can tell, periodically, we of course will have the feline supervisors that come through. They want to make sure that I am doing everything right and that I am properly teaching you guys how to make your very own mini craft foam top hats. I know the light isn't the best in here, but you know what? You're not here to see me anyway. You're just here to see what I'm doing. So, you know, this happens to be the area that has the best space for me to do that in. So, now you're asking yourself, you know, hey, well, what am I going to need to make myself this top hat? And I'm going to tell you, and this list of items will also be listed in the description of the video. That way you can refer back to it at any time. So first things first, you're going to need your pattern. As mentioned, this is not a pattern that I made. This is a pattern that I did find on the internet. I will include the link as to where you can go get your very own. What I chose to do was I chose to have it printed on 110 cardstock. That way I can print it out, I can trace it, and it's going to be relatively durable for when I'm tracing it onto the foam. Of course, naturally, if you have a pattern, you are going to need something to cut that pattern out with. Scissors. Scissors are your best friend in the craft world. You will want to make sure you keep a separate stash of your craft scissors versus your fabric scissors versus your everyday scissors. Trust me, you'll understand why as time goes on. Also, if you have a pattern, once you cut it out, you're going to need to trace it. Sharpies. Handy dandy Sharpies. You can get them in any color. Just make sure that they are the proper color to dry on whatever color craft foam you choose to get. And that's going to bring us to our next fun item. Craft foam. I picked mine up in 11 by 17 sheets for projects like this. I got about 2 top hats out of 2 sheets. So, that just goes to show you, and I did have a little bit to spare, so it wasn't like I was wedging all the pattern pieces in super close. And I had a little extra to spare. So I would definitely give yourself that kind of wiggle room, just in case you make a mistake. It happens. I mean, no matter how good you are at this, at some point you're going to make a mistake and you're going to have to recut a piece. Whether it's sewing a fabric pattern, whether you're sewing, you know, a hat, whether it's a dress, whether it's a woodworking project. Ultimately, at some point you may need to cut an extra piece, especially if it's your first time doing it. Another thing that you are going to need after you finish tracing onto the craft foam is your handy dandy Exacto knife. What did I do with mine? I just had it here. It was here like 2 seconds ago. Am I sitting on it? Yes, magically. Oh, hold on. No, I'm not sitting on it. Okay, well, that's a good thing. Okay, let me see here. It's in my folder. Okay, well, let's see here. Well, while I keep looking for that, we're going to keep going over the list of things you're going to need. Some sort of cutting surface. I picked up one of these small little cutting mats. That way, if I need to cut some things out and I want to do it on a smaller surface, or if I want to do it while watching TV, I can just put this underneath my phone, cut it out while I'm watching TV, and I don't have to worry about cutting anything or damaging any of my furniture. However, if the cutting surface that you're using, you already know, hey, I cut stuff on this all the time. That's what this particular surface is for. So you're not worried about nicks and cuts, then don't worry about it. And huzzah! We have the magical Exacto knife. Some people I have seen do it with a box cutter. I have seen people also use scalpels. So it's really what's up to you. Because there is some precise cutting that you will eventually need to do with this. That's why I got the Exacto, because, well, it's a little bit handier. You can get a little bit more precision in there. Other things you're going to need, and you may not necessarily need them today. We're going to film this as part of a 2-part video because this is a little bit of a lengthy process, so I wanted to make sure you had time to not feel rushed. One thing that I've experienced in my time crafting and cosplaying is a lot of times you find a tutorial and either they leave out some of the key details as to how much they applied, did they use a little or a lot. So sometimes there's a little bit of that frustration that comes from that. And I don't want to do that to you guys. So I want to try and be as thorough as I can in both the construction and doing the finishing touches. So we're going to do, this is a 2-part video. This part is going to focus on the construction. Then the next video that you'll see next week is going to focus on the finishing touches, such as paint. Any kind of acrylic craft paint will work. Because of the fact that you're going to paint your foam, it really doesn't matter what color you get. So get red, blue, purple. If you happen to have some around your house, you have a sheet of red, a sheet of blue, a sheet of pink, you can cut out of all that. It doesn't matter. Because in the end, you're going to cover it in paint and no one's going to know what the original color was. Yes. You will also want to get some rubber cement. Some of us had fun playing with this as a child. You had it in like the Elmer's glue thing, and it had a brush, and you brush it on your hands and peel it off. All kinds of fun. For this project, however, with the way that it needs to be applied, I found that having the pointy tip just makes it a little bit easier. You can pick this up at any craft store. One thing that I am notorious for doing is coupons. If you can get coupons for your local craft stores, use them. There's no reason for cosplay to be expensive. There's no reason that making your props has to cost you an arm and a leg. Look for sales, look for coupons, all that kind of good stuff to save you money and keep you on budget. There's also another fun little paint here that we're going to use here for some of our other accents called Rub and Buff. This I feel is very important. I'm sure there's other stuff that maybe does the same thing. I don't know what it is, so if you do, feel free to comment and tell me what it is. That would be great. So in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and stick with Rub and Buff because it's what I know. And then also, feel free to get some little embellishments. I picked up these little gears that I'll paint later and put on. Some keys. I think I got some buttons around here somewhere. And that's just some fun stuff you'll need for later on. The other thing you will need to help the hat stay on your head. Clips. Clips of any kind. I've seen some people use the alligator clips that have the little hence why they're called alligator clips. These I like a little better personally, just because they're a little more comfortable. And you can use them no matter how short or long your hair is. So gentlemen, even you can use these in a miniature top hat if you choose to go that route. Or sometimes a full-size top hat. Sometimes it doesn't hurt to help keep it on your head. So yeah, we're going to end up attaching this. And like I said, they're kind of nice. They're flat. They go in, snap down, really comfortable. And if you're at a convention and you're going to be wearing this for several hours, comfort is important. Repeat after me. Comfort is important. All right. So now that we've gone through the list of supplies, I don't think I've missed anything. And if I have, we'll find it in the video and you'll see it in the list because, there's no way that I'm going to miss anything in that list. So first things first naturally are going to be to trace your pattern. Like we said, we're going to go ahead and just trace it out with a Sharpie. I'm pretty sure you all know how to trace, so I don't think I need to make sure that you guys can see exactly how I'm tracing this. And the wheels on the bus go round and round, round and round, round and round. Wheels on the bus go round and round, all to the town. Wow, I actually remembered that right. Okay. Now, one thing I am going to point out to you that I'm going to do with this pattern, and this is just for easier construction later on down the road. As you can see, this pattern has center markers on the sides and on the top. So when I draw my pattern, I make sure that I mark a center line just as a tick mark on the outside as well as on the inside. That way, when you go to cut this out and you go to put your hat together, you can actually see where those marks are and how they should line up. So when you're done, it's going to look a little bit like some sort of target. And I'll show you that here in 1 second. Ta-da! Yeah, see, I mean, it looks kind of like a target, something you'd go, shoot at, but that's not what this is, not today. Maybe some other days, but not today. As I mentioned, this video is going to be a little bit longer than usual, probably going to be about 20-30 minutes, maybe a little longer, just depending upon how detailed we get into this. But like I said, I just want to make sure that we're thorough with how we go through it all. Next thing, of course, is going to be to cut out the pattern. Now, when I cut these out, because you used your Sharpie, so you have a nice thick line, I'm going to cut mine out, and I'm going to aim for kind of the center of this line. Not for any other reason other than the fact that that way it kind of helps to defeat the fact that your Sharpie line may be a little thick. So if your Sharpie line is thicker, then naturally it could potentially make the brim of your hat a little bit big. But of course we also have a way to compensate for that with this pattern as well. And we will be getting to that portion here today. And look, we have that supervisor coming by to make sure that I'm doing everything that I tell you folks I'm going to do. Making sure that I know what I'm doing. Making sure you guys out there doing what you're doing. I was looking to see if you're there. I guess I can't see you, can't figure out, why you're not right there answering to his beck and call. Like most bosses, they, pretty much want you to do, what they want you to do when they want you to do it. So then we're just going to go through here and we're just going to, like I said, we're going to go to that line. And we're going to cut around the circle. Like I said, mine, I have a slightly smaller cutting surface right now because this is just kind of like I can use this anywhere cutting circle, if I magically, for some reason, have to finish a costume piece that requires cutting and I'm already at the convention. I can take this with me to my hotel room. It's portable. That's kind of the nice thing about this. And, this is one thing I want everyone here to remember who's doing this tutorial. The important thing about cosplay is to enjoy yourself. First and foremost, cosplay is designed to be fun. If it's not fun, then you're not doing it right. So don't beat yourself up if you notice that, oh, look, my hat, maybe I have this little wrinkle here. People probably won't notice it. Second of all, there's always a way to cover it up. Whether it's with an embellishment, whether it's with some sort of decorative feather, it's in how you paint it. So I would rather have you worry about the steps and, properly executing exactly each of those steps than worry about it being absolutely perfect. Is there a chance you're going to get some glue and kind of make a mess? Yeah, probably. Okay, yeah, most likely. Yeah, or you're going to have maybe get an area of the glue that doesn't flatten out quite right. Well, that's okay. That can be covered up. We can deal with that later. The key thing is to get the construction done. So This is going to be the brim of your hat, and we're going to set this off to the side for now. The next pieces you're going to cut out are going to be for the band around the hat. As you can tell, I chose out of the pattern to use the tall top hat. It gives you one for each, one for tall, and one if you wanted to do a little shorter one. But for me, I wanted to go ahead and do the tall one. I just thought it would look be a little more fun. So we're going to go ahead and cut out a couple of these pieces. La 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 la. And like I said, I know that watching me sit here and cut stuff is kind of boring, but you know, hey, I want to make sure that I am as detailed with you as possible. This project is not going to be a knock it out in an hour. It's a little bit more in-depth project. When I first saw the tutorial and the first time I tried it, I was like, oh yeah, I can do this in like a few hours. Yeah, in a few hours I got the pieces all drawn on and cut out. And part of it glued together. It takes a little bit more time than you would think it does, but it's going to be totally worth it in the end. But I want to make sure that you are giving yourself enough time and you have that expectation as to how long this is going to take you. And of course, that time's going to vary for everybody. Of course, like I said, my goal is I don't want anybody to go into this and all of a sudden be like, oh, hey, my convention's tomorrow, and I'm going to make this hat. And think you're going to get sleep if you do it that way. No, definitely plan this out like a week before your convention or whatever the event is. One thing I did forget to mention, when I traced the top band pieces, as you can see, the pattern says top. So that I knew which end had to be my top, I just put a little mark there with my Sharpie, right there. And you can mark it however you want. You can put a T, you can put a dot, because ultimately it's not going to matter because you're going to paint over it. Or it's going to end up on the inside of the hat where no one sees it anyway. But you're still going to paint that, so no one's going to see it. La 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 la. Academy will go. Academy will go. La 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 la. Academy will go. All right. Now the top band is going to have 10 of these pieces. I'm just going to go ahead and cut 2 apart for now, so that I can show you the process for gluing it all together. Now, one thing that I will advise you all on. Something that I think everyone should use for this, just because it makes cleanup a little bit easier. Rubber gloves. Where did my rubber gloves go? I had them. Oh, here they are. You can use any rubber gloves. I obviously craft a lot, so I buy them by the box. But if you just picked up like a small pack of like 3 or 4, that would probably get you through this project. I basically use these because it makes it easier. If you're in the middle of this and all of a sudden you're like, you know what, I really need to eat something. My eye itches, whatever. A, you have one ungloved hand. Second of all, you just peel it off. And it's going to keep the mess all contained. So now that we have the band parts, I'm going to show you how we attach them. So we're going to start with our handy dandy rubber cement. Rubber cement. Rubber cement. And I know you guys probably think I'm out of my mind, and I probably am not too far from it right now. As you can tell, I'm sounding a little bit nasally. I'm suffering from some allergies, so, you know, the nice thing about that is, you know, if I'm not in a very well ventilated area with this glue, it's going to be fine because I can't smell anything right now anyway. And I am hopped up on enough cold medicine that it's not going to matter. If I'm not high off the cold medicine, I'm not going to get high off the paint fumes. So you're going to put a really thick, like apply it very liberally. You know, you want to have plenty of that on there. Let it sit for a few minutes. That's the reason I'm not too worried about, you know, showing you guys, hey, this is how I did it. I put a giant bead along the top. Is because of the fact that you need to let it get a little bit tacky in order to put it together. So what I did is I attach it kind of at the corners here, as close as I can to the corners. Then I kind of take it and I kind of bend it in a little bit. kind of like this, so I can get it to stick together. Then I'm going to hold it like this for a bit, because the pieces are naturally going to kind of want to try and like run away from each other. It's kind of like when you put two magnets together and they try and like, you know, move apart. This stuff kind of does a little bit of the same thing. So you're going to want to get a really good surface that this is kind of sticking to itself with. And you can start at either end. You know, you can start up here at the top, down at the bottom. It doesn't matter as long as you can just get it to where it will stick together. Go to your home. Think you're too good for your home? Sorry guys, like I said, I apologize in advance for my insanity. You know, I don't suffer from it. I enjoy every minute of it. But, you know, hey. And this is part of why the process takes so long. You have to give it a little bit of time to dry. You have to get a little tacky. You have to kind of, you know, sometimes you have to go back and reapply a little bit more glue. Just to make sure it's all going to hold together. And so we're going to keep talking through all this here. And like I said, you know, if you guys like seeing these videos where we're showing you how to do new stuff, feel free to say so in the comments. Is there something that you've wanted to do but you don't know how? You know, hey, let us know. If I don't know how to do it, I can find someone who does, or I can learn. I'm all about the learning process, because as long as I keep learning, I don't get old. And I think for me, that's the most important thing. I don't want to get old. Do you want to get old? No, no one wants to get old. So here, as you can see, this is kind of what the inside's going to look like. We got these two pieces to kind of stick together pretty well. And you're going to do this with the rest of the 8 pieces to go all the way around the band. Since I have a hat that I did partially construct in advance for you guys, let me go ahead and show you what it's going to look like once you're done. You're going to have this here. Now, the reason, of course, I've already put my top on this, but that's okay. I can still show you how to put that top on, even though I've partially adhered mine down. So yeah, so you see, like, once you put all the pieces together, it's going to kind of come together. Now, as you can see on this one here that we just put together, the outside seam looks really raw, where this one looks a little more finished. The reason this one looks a little more finished is because I've gone through and I put another row of the glue, just like I did there. I just ran it up the line, took my glove after I finished, and smoothed it all out. So basically, I created a glue seam. That's basically what I did. So once you get all of those pieces together, you're going to set your top here area off to the side, and you're going to work on your brim. Now, I had mentioned to you guys that with the brim of the hat, we were going to kind of roll, you know, we were going to take care of some of this outer part. Let me show you how we do that. For this, I'm actually just going to put the lid back on my Exacto. You can do this with a flat piece of metal, a spoon, anything that'll kind of put a mark. So as you can see here on the bottom, I have this little mark on the inside. That's what I'm going to start working with. And I'm going to set this piece here down, and I'm going to just kind of drag it along the foam to kind of score it. We're not going to cut it. We're not doing anything here other than just making it a little bit more pliable for the next step. Wahahaha. Next step, next stages. Yes. Craft skill level 1. Advance. So yeah, I mean, I am always glad to share what I know about these types of tricks with everybody, because that's another part of the cosplay world. You know, and if you're someone who's been doing cosplay for a while, as you know, you have like a great circle of friends that are people that have all these really cool skills. And like, if there's something that you don't know how to do, your buddy knows how to do it. And, you know, there's stuff that you know how to do that your friends don't know how to do. So they come to you and they're like, hey, you know, I need you to help me out with this prop, or I need you to help me modify this so that it looks like this. And so it becomes like this really great supportive community of people. And as a result of that, you know, if you're new to it, you're going to find things that you're really, really good at and that you really, really excel at. And you're going to find other people that are going to be like, wow, can you show me how to do that? Or, you know, that's really amazing that you know how to do that. You know, can I hire you to make this for me? Or how much would you charge to make this for me? It's called commissioning. Some people like to do it. Other people like to do it in trade. Every cosplayer is a little bit different on how they feel about that. But the nicest thing about the cosplay community is that essentially you're encouraging everybody's creativity. So whether it's your own creativity, whether it's the creativity of, you know, a friend of yours, whether it's just the creativity of someone you saw at a convention that does some really awesome stuff. You know, there are a few people I know in the steampunk world that can craft items like it is nobody's business. And they are the people that I would go to anytime I need something. I'm going to say, hey, you know, you are really amazing at this, and I am probably not quite as amazing as you are, and I would like your help. And that is very flattering to a cosplayer. Because it basically means that you're acknowledging their work. So if someone comes to you after you've started a craft and they're like, wow, that's really awesome, can you show me how to do it? Or, you know, hey, I really would like to pay you to commission you to make this for me. Don't look at it as something negative. It's not that they can't do it, they probably could, but, you know, they want your skill to be able to do that. So the next step here with the brim, now that I've gone ahead and gone and scored everything, you can kind of see here, you know, where I kind of mushed down part of it, gave myself a little bit of a seam there. Now I'm going to go ahead and put some glue. Yeah, like I said, there's a lot of gluing in this. It's gluing. If you could glue, you got this. I'm just going to start with a small section because you kind of got to work it out a little bit. And so you're just going to take, and where you have that seam and you put your glue. Once again, like I said, I'm not too worried about getting it right over right away. I applied it pretty liberally. Yeah, pretty good glop of glue up there. I'm just going to fold that over and start working around the brim. That way it's going to give this brim just a little bit of an edge. That's going to look pretty cool once it's all done. Now it is a little bit tricky to get the edges perfectly flat on any type of round surface. So you just kind of got to work with your foam a little bit, you know. Make love to the foam. Become one with the foam. Etc., etc. You know, all the cheesy cliches. So let's go ahead here. Now one thing that I also kind of did with this, just to kind of make it easier on myself, was while I'm waiting for that glue to kind of set a little bit, I would clamp it with a bag clip. So I take a handy dandy little bag clip, you know, the same ones you clamp down like the Doritos and the Cheetos when you don't finish them at the end of the night. Or maybe you just let them get stale. I mean, that's completely up to you. That's your prerogative. You know, hey, that's all you. But I have these nifty little bag clips all over my house. And so I'll just kind of clamp it there for a couple minutes just to let the glue set. And then I'll work my way all the way around. Like I said, this one here is not quite perfect and it's not quite finished, but you'll see kind of what it does to the edge there. I got a little bit of a hurry here, which is why you have some of those corners. So I'll probably go back later and smooth that out. Maybe smooth it out with an Exacto, just kind of make it a little bit more uniform. Like I said, when I did all of this to create this little like demo hat, it took me about 3 hours. And a lot of that was because I didn't have all the information I'm giving you. I was not aware. I thought I needed to just apply a little bit of glue because you want it to stick quickly, right? And so, yeah, that ended up leaving me like holding these pieces together for like 20 minutes at a time to get them to stick to each other. And that's just no bueno. So as I started to go through it, I kind of started getting tired and I started getting sloppy, which meant I was putting a whole lot of glue. And I was like, wow, these are sticking together so much better now. That's the key. Apply glue liberally. The glue is your friend. He controls the glue, controls the foam. You know, it's just those little things that I want to pass on to you as you're doing this project on your own. So what's going to happen from here is once you have put together, you know, you've got your brim all folded over and it's looking all cool, and you've got all, you know, 10 of these things put together and it looks all awesome. Well, now you just have a pipe. You got these two pieces, and what you're going to do, and I'm going to show you from the inside, put glue all the way around inside here. All the way along the edge. So along this top edge here, where you see that mine is all super shiny. Look at the shiny glue. Yes, it's another glue seam. And then you're going to put this pipe part here on top of it. From there, you're going to let that set for a bit. And then one of the pieces of your pattern is a top. And that, you're just going to, what I did is I put the glue on this, because this was easier. Now I mentioned you have to have your lines to line everything up. So what I did was I put the glue on this side. So the side that didn't have any markings, that's where I put my glue. Once again, very liberally applied. Then you can flip it over and you can line up those little black marks with where the black marks will still be sticking out on the brim of the hat. That way you can line it all up and then you get it all to sit. I would then recommend letting this set for about a day. Once you've let it set, that gives time for all the glues to dry. You may need to go in and trim a few pieces off. I noticed that mine here, this top here, just was cut just a hair too big. So I'm probably going to go in and trim off the back side of that before I paint this one. And so I'll, you know, you trim it up to make sure everything fits along the top. Or like if you have areas here that are like at the corners, you can just trim those over. Run your Exacto knife over them. And then once you've trimmed them up, just put another seam of glue. Once again, handy dandy rubber cement. Put it on your finger, run it around, use a Q-tip. Just to get that nice seam and seal. Like I said, I'd started putting this one together when I realized I was going to need to do another one for you guys. And I was going to try and cut the lid off, but the glue was a little bit stronger than my Exacto knife. So I just figured I would walk you guys through it this way, showing you basically this is where you're going to be once you have put all the pieces together. And then in our next video, I will show you what we need to do in order to make it look like a real top hat and decorate it and embellish it and do all the little finishing touches. So like I said, do you like videos like this? Are there other things you'd like to see? Post it in the comments. Let us know. You know, we do this for you. And so we want to know what you guys think. We want to know what you guys want to see. So until next time, hang your geek flags high and keep watching Geeks of the Web.